All right, hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to our first edition episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 1 review of the new Disney Plus show, the MCU show. We are happen to be joined tonight by Corey from Mainstreet Explorers and by Morgan from Disney. So before we actually get into talking about the episode, I want to see what's going on with Teaching Disney. And Morgan, what's going on with your channel? And can you tell us a little bit about it and what do you have coming up?
Yeah, so right now I am currently going back into my school. So I have a lot of teaching videos that are going to be coming out very soon, like classroom setup, which is something that I haven't done in a while. And then I have a lot of Disney content coming out. My vlogs from my last trip are going to be coming out now that I have my camera again. And I also have a lot of swaps that are coming out. I just had a Marvel swap that came out today. And of course, my series Haul Saturday. Every Saturday is a new haul. So.
All right, awesome. Very cool. And Corey, what do you guys have going on your channel? And can you tell us a little bit about it as well?
Oh, what do we got going on? Well, we just did a Q&A video where I did a rapid fire response with no editing or nothing, viewer questions and everything that we've gotten since we've been doing our channel. Laura's going to have one of those also pretty soon. We got a giveaway coming up really soon. And just for fun, I actually found a student film that I was part of in college, and I may be posting that soon just for laughs to see how bad it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it right now.
That's really cool. I really want to see that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's horrible.
Do we have any old good VHSs of us when we're back in the day? Do you remember the big VHS camcorder I used to have?
Yes, I do.
It sat on my shoulder and I had like a little viewing glass, and that's how I used to film through. Yeah.
Yes.
If anybody knows what VHS tape is.
I got an old video of the Slingshot from Old Town.
We should post that.
We could post it as a short.
The student film that's actually rated to a level that I'm okay posting was shot on one of those old what were they called? The flip cameras or whatever that everybody, the little vlogging cameras that came out like 2008 that lasted for like a month before the iPhones killed it. Yeah, it was shot on that. It's really bad. Like it's a horror movie, and people are like smiling in scenes when they should be screaming and terrified. Really, really bad. But it might be more entertaining than the Winter Soldier and Falcon TV show.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, so
it was boring.
Episode was titled The New World Order, and a brief description of it is Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes realize that their futures are anything but normal. So, since Corey's touching on it a little bit, so just before we actually get into like the actual notes and everything, or like the details of the show, what did you think overall about the show? Or
it was like any first episode of something. It's all set up. I was hoping they would do more because these are characters that we have been with for a while. Like, how many movies has both these characters been in? I doubt anybody's using this TV show as a starting point for the MCU. So it's like, I was kind of hoping they would hit the ground running and just take for granted that the fans that were watching would know who the characters are. But no, it's all set up for who the characters.
Morgan, what did you think?
So I have an opposite opinion. I really liked it. I thought it kept my attention, especially since I was like doing stuff during it. People were trying to pull me away and I was like, no, I have to watch this. And I really liked it. I don't know a lot about Sam. And I feel like if you only know in the if you are only from the movies, like yes, we know who Bucky is. We have a pretty good idea of who Bucky is, but I didn't know a lot about Sam. Like I didn't know he had a sister. I didn't know he had he was from Louisiana. Like, I feel like I should have known that, but I didn't. And
I'm pretty sure there's a Forrest Gump joke somewhere in there.
Probably. I don't pick up on all those things all the time. But
he's from Louisiana and he's working on a boat. I mean,
yeah.
The writer could probably come up with a
I don't think they specified what kind of boat was it. Was it a shrimp boat? It was a shrimp boat?
Shrimp in the kitchen.
They were?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't catch that.
It was either shrimp or crawfish one.
Yeah. But I really liked it. I did wish that there was a little bit more of Sam and Bucky together, which that's why I was really looking forward to this series, because I love their banter next to each other. And I'm really shocked that like Bucky didn't go to the memorial service or whatever it was.
Okay. Can I say something on that one?
Sure.
Does it make anybody else? Are we doing spoilers?
Okay, so I figured we were just going to talk about it like a little bit, and then I'm going to post spoilers like once we're done, just briefly, just talking about it. So yeah, spoilers are eventually going to get mentioned, just not yet.
Okay, I'll say
there's not a bunch of huge spoilers. I mean, you had some appearances, but I wouldn't say like there was like so and so showed up and it was a huge spoiler. So, but that's how
problem. I'm just going to say I have a problem with the Washington scene. And I will go into it in the spoiler section because I don't know if it's technically a spoiler or not.
The first one or the second one?
I'll get to it in the spoiler section.
Okay.
So I do agree with you, Morgan. I love the Sam stuff. I think it's great because I honestly didn't know a lot about Sam's backstory. And yes, I think not necessarily they really went into a lot of Bucky's backstory. It was cool seeing him as Winter Soldier again. I'm not going to lie and saying Hail Hydra. Like that was so cool. I love seeing that stuff again. But I think it just pretty much you're kind of diving into the depths of, even though he was in Wakanda and they tried to take a lot of that stuff that Hydra put in him, like the brainwashing, that still none of it ever really truly goes away. But I absolutely love the Sam backstory. I think pretty much this episode was, it's a lot of filler. It's a lot of setup because now eventually they're going to have to link up for some reason. Possibly with this new terrorist organization, then it's going to be more of like a buddy cop kind of TV show once they finally link up with one another. But go ahead.
I'm shocked because if you watch Legends gives you a bunch of characters from Civil War. It gives you obviously Sam, Winter Soldier, and it also gives you Agent Carter, who we haven't seen yet, and Zoom. Or is that his name? Or
Zemo?
What?
Zemo.
Baron Zemo.
Yeah, Zemo. That's what it is. I don't know why.
If we're calling Baron Zemo in the show, I don't know. But in the comic, it's Baron Zemo.
So I was shocked that I thought because Wanda Vision left off in Sokovia, I thought we were going back there. So I was a little confused when we were like all over the map.
Right.
Yeah, I will be wondering if they'll tie in anything from Wanda Vision or the upcoming Loki show doesn't that come out like this summer or something?
June 11th, I believe.
Okay, I thought I saw some about this summer. It was either May or June, but June. Okay, I'm really looking forward to.
What did you think overall, Rochelle? Just like without going into spoilers.
I thought it was a little slow. When it was over, I said to him, it was a little slow. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it was a little slow. I do appreciate the backstory. I think everybody kind of feels the same way on the backstory of Sam. Like it was nice except for you, Corey. But I feel like it was good to get it. But at the same time, like I want to know what it's going to do to tie into the show. Like, with the sister thing, and I get that he wants to be there. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, let's get into the other stuff. Like, this is the name of the show is Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever. What about that? I don't really want, I mean, I want it, but that's not really what I was interested in at that point in time. I know it's set up. Hold your horses.
But you have to realize there's only 6 episodes, so they got to have a filler episode. And this was it.
No.
I hope this was it. If they have more filler episodes, I don't know how I'm going to feel.
But look at WandaVision. I mean, how many filler episodes did we have? We had 4? I mean, three plus the 4th one was a recap.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, call the guy who did The Mandalorian and teach them how to write a series. Because The Mandalorian was perfectly paced. Wanda Vision was horrible for half of it. And this episode, you have 6 episodes. You shouldn't have a filler episode.
Okay, but if you did want to do a little bit of filling, that's fine. Do it for like 20 minutes of the episode and not the entire thing. I mean,
but it was a long episode. It was longer than all the.
It's an hour. It was an hour.
It was like 49 minutes, but a lot of the WandaVision episodes were only like a half hour, though.
I understand that, but then take advantage of the time that you have.
But they did. They made a longer episode. They dived into a little backstory.
A little backstory. That was a lot of backstory.
It was.
Okay.
I feel like it was a lot of backstory, especially with the flashbacks with Bucky. And I'm wondering how those. I understand, like, okay, he's trying to deal with the trauma that has happened to him, but I'm wondering, like, how is that?
We need to touch on that.
Yeah, we need to touch. Like, is this going to be a major thing, or is this like? I don't know.
It was a little deep.
Or maybe they're trying to redeem Bucky.
I think they've been trying to honestly redeem Bucky since maybe Civil War. I mean, pretty much, because I mean, obviously,
he's a likable character.
But spoilers for Civil War, I'm sure everyone has seen that. But spoilers, he killed Tony's mom and dad.
I was about to watch that later tonight.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that really got a lot of people to hate him because a lot of people can't see past what Tony can't see past, that he killed his mom and dad, whether he was under the influence of Hydra or not.
I think people see him as a bad you-know-what and like him, just like they do like the Mandalorian. No matter what the Mandalorian has done, he's a bad you-know-what, and people like him.
But Mando has a good heart, though. Like, he's not really in it for the money, like.
Yeah, but if you've watched Captain America, the first Captain America movie, Bucky has a good heart.
Of course. Yeah.
Before he gets under the influence of Hydra, of course.
Exactly. So you don't blame him for all that. And people like him.
I've heard some people that do blame him. That really, like, those people that are diehard Iron Man fans do not like Bucky.
Yeah, but I don't know how many of them will be watching this TV show because it's a Captain America show and not a Iron Man show.
True.
All right.
I mean, he's got a robot arm. He's good with guns, and he's a tough guy. I mean, people like that. It's
going to be really tough to get on now to talk about pretty much the show. So this is kind of your little forewarning, spoilers. It's not like huge spoilers, but we're going to really dive in deep to the show here. The plot. So if you haven't seen it, then I would pause here and then come back and watch. But if you want to just hear us talk about it, again, nothing big, but there's some name drops and some characters. So here we go. We're going to get right into it. So the first thing that I loved that they brought back Batroc from Winter Soldier. He's the Russian pirate that hijacks the naval ship in the Winter Soldier movie. And that's actually played by George St. Pierre, who is a real UFC fighter. And Brittany did not know that. So I love that they brought him back. And technically, he fell out of that helicopter, so he probably still isn't dead. So we might get him again.
I'm just going to say this. I've got a friend who loves the whole skydiving, extreme sports kind of thing. You cannot do what they did with those squirrel suits, as I call them.
Yes. Like just easily going in and out of the helicopters with them. Yes.
Well, that and the whole, going in the canyon, where they stole the scene from Independence Day.
He's so right. I mean, some of these shows you kind of have to like turn your brain off at like before you start watching it. I mean, it's a superhero show. I get it, try to be a little realistic, but I thought it was a great scene. But I'm like, I thought
it was a good scene.
It is totally impossible.
But halfway through it, I'm like, didn't I see this exact scene in one of the Mission Impossibles? I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise did something very similar to this in one of the Mission Impossibles.
What did you think of that scene, Morgan?
I thought it was really cool. I thought it kept my attention. I've seen nothing like that before. So I thought it was awesome. I felt really bad for the kid Sam was trying to save. He just kept getting tossed around, and by the end of it, he was like had no air in his lungs because they just strapped him on, and everyone else had a helmet, and he did.
Okay. Question though, who was that guy? Did
Which
they
one?
ever say who he was or
one of
why
the
he was
missions.
kidnapped?
It was the mission that he was working on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they didn't. I don't think they really went into detail on who that general was or why he was important, because you don't see him the rest of the episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
so I don't know if he's going to come back or what, but through the whole thing, I would like to at least a drop line like, "Oh, we got to rescue the general so and so because he's in charge of so and so, or he knows the."
No, he was a general's son. He was someone else's son.
Okay, so that makes it even worse. Just some random guy's son. Just flash on the screen, random action scene.
It kind of reminded me too a little bit of The Dark Knight Rises with Bane in the beginning with the plane. Just a little bit. Just subtle hints of it.
Yeah.
Now I can go on to stuff. I can now talk about something that really bugged me.
Okay.
The Washington scene. He goes and takes the shield. They're doing a big ceremony for Captain America. What about Iron Man? Iron Man don't get his own wing of the Smithsonian Museum? I understand the premise of the show is all about Cap and everything. They could have walked by it, you know.
Well, Captain America already had one.
Yeah, that Smithsonian scene was already in the Winter Soldier. That scene has been.
And Iron Man doesn't deserve a wing or something.
But Pepper gave him.
He only snapped and saved the universe.
Pepper gave him the little box with Tony Stark does have a heart. That's all. Plus, they had the funeral for him as well.
Okay, but you don't think the government should honor him with the wing in the museum with like some of his armor and tech and the story of Tony Stark? I mean, he snapped and saved the universe and died. Captain America just went back in time to marry his high school sweetheart.
I mean, he did get some graffiti art in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all Iron Man gets, and Captain America gets a wing in a museum. I'm sorry, that bugs me.
Well, to be fair, Captain America also saved like a bunch of people single-handedly with his own brute strength, like back in First Avenger.
Just saying, Iron Man didn't save the whole universe.
I think with Tony being like so anti-government as well, and he definitely doesn't want the government having any of his tech in their hands, in their possession to do pretty much whatever they want. Speaking of the last part of the episode, Sam gives the shield back, and look what they do with the shield. Well, we'll get to that towards the end.
Get to that,
but I think Tony would never want any of his tech in the hands of the government. I mean,
I'm just saying. I think Iron Man should have a wing. Hulk should have a wing. Thor should have a wing.
Smithsonian's only so big.
They can add on to it.
They should put one here in the Smithsonian, and then people should be able to go up to it to see if they're worthy or not.
They do have a Marvel exhibit in the American history one where they have like all the pop culture stuff. They have some of the stuff from the movies.
Do you think
you're talking about real life? I'm talking about in the movie itself.
Well, yeah.
Do you think I would be worthy? Would I be able to lift Mjolnir?
No. I don't think either one of us has a chance. Because first thing I'm doing, I'm going evil. I already know that. I'd be worse than Loki.
Moving right along. So obviously we got past the skydiving scene, which I thought was awesome. So yes.
Oh, it was good. It just
yeah. So Sam ends up giving up the shield that Steve gave him, and he gives it back over to the government. And a person shows up actually to the press conference, and it's James Rhodes, War Machine, and shows up and kind of gives the Sam a prep talk. So how'd you guys feel about War Machine showing up in the episode?
Love it. Best part of the show. I love Don Cheadle. I mean, just on a side note, I love Don Cheadle. I've always have. Been rewatching episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I didn't even realize he was on some episodes of it in the first season.
I didn't know that either.
Oh.
Yeah, he plays one of Will Smith's buddies from Philly. That he flies out to L.A. He's kind of a troublemaker, but I was sitting there watching. I was like, "That's Don Cheadle. That's awesome."
So I personally love that. I'm like, oh my God, it's War Machine. So like when I was watching, I hate to compare, but it is another Marvel show. So when I was watching WandaVision, I was kind of, they did bring somebody in and it just didn't end up living up to what I thought it was going to be.
Darcy.
Like, oh. What's that?
Darcy. Her name is Darcy.
Darcy.
The scientist.
Huh?
The scientist on WandaVision.
The girl from
that was
on a TV show Two Broke Girls for a while.
I guess I was talking about Evan Peters as Quicksilver, I guess. Or,
oh yeah.
But that's a different universe. That's
I was waiting for like another Avenger, another like a War Machine in WandaVision, and I guess I never got that.
Maybe Hawkeye stops by.
There you go.
I'd be okay with that.
I like Hawkeye.
Loves him.
I think Jeremy Renner's okay. I mean, I remember him from his National Lampoon days, but The Hurt Locker was amazing, and I loved Hawk. As soon as I was watching, what was it, Thor? Was it Thor or Hulk he debuted in?
Thor.
As soon as I saw just the silhouette of a guy with a bow and arrow, like, that's Hawkeye. I like him.
And see, they didn't even name drop him. You just know from, okay, he's got a bow and arrow. That's Hawkeye. But same thing in this.
Yeah, but I had a lot of comic book geeky friends that were like, who's the guy with the bow and arrow now? Like, you don't know who Hawkeye is?
Wow.
No, I'm not even that dorky.
But yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would, even like he was just in it for like what, a minute or two, just have a minute or two kind of quick cameo and boom, done. And it was perfect. And I loved like the scene with him and Sam, just the interaction of, I think pretty much what this whole season is going to be about, obviously besides Bucky and Sam like interacting with each other, is Sam now has to mature enough or accept the responsibility or the mantle to become Cap. And I really hope towards the end of the season he will don the costume with his red, white, and blue Falcon suit with the shield, and that's pretty much that's going to thrust us into like the next phase for these two characters.
That's some high standards.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Question: did any of y'all read the press clippings and stuff about the show? One of the producers or directors or writers, somebody that worked on the show, said that the theme of the show was identity. Both of the main characters and even some of the lesser characters, it's all about finding their identity and their new role in the world as it is today.
I can see that. I can definitely see that with Sam, and then maybe a little bit with Bucky. Maybe if they dive a little bit more into it, but
a little bit. Sure they will. I think that's, in my opinion, I was really struggling with that episode with him because it was deep. Like it was a little dark for me, and how he was like feeling and dealing with his emotions, and I was questioning why he was doing what he was doing, but at the same time, I'm like, ooh, ouch, like that hurts. That's deep,
Yeah.
Can I ask though, did anybody find it poor storytelling though, that he's in therapy talking to a therapist and the woman's like, you have no friends, and then the next scene he's having dinner with a friend of his?
A friend, but it's not really a friend because he's befriending him because he killed his son. Spoiler, sorry.
We already said spoilers, but
I mean, I feel like the only reason that he's having dinner is trying to make himself feel better by what he did.
No, he's trying to make amends. That was like what the whole therapy session was about.
He's trying to make.
I could be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I was just gonna say I did not get that. I took it as he didn't know that he killed the guy's son until he saw the picture of him later in the episode. That's the way I read it.
You think he?
No, I think he did know because I think that's why he left the dinner with the girl. Is because
the girl really starts hammering home about
asking questions and trying to figure it out, and he was just too much for him to handle.
What do you name that? Obviously, an orphan is a person without parents, and then a widow is a girl without a husband.
So what do you call a dad without a kid?
Without a son. And then as soon as she said that, he's like, "All right, I'm out of here."
He's like, "I gotta go."
I think the guilt just got to be too much. And he like was like, I gotta go fix this right now. And then when it got down to it, he chickened out.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't think he knew before he saw the picture.
I think he did, but he just didn't know that he had that kind of picture and that it would be right there in his face when he's about to tell him that he killed his son.
And he was kind of having a memoriam. Like, I know that's their culture. Like they pray and everything else over their bodies and everything.
Like
and plus he doesn't know what happened to his son. And I don't know if he ever will unless Bucky tells him.
Yeah. Hopefully we get I will say this. I love seeing him as the Winter Soldier, even in a dream scene. That was really cool.
I nerd out for that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Hail Hydra. Sometimes I'll just whisper in her ear, Hail Hydra.
And if she's anything like my wife, she then smacks me upside the face like, oh, I didn't know you were there. You were Hydra. Boom!
She's like, oh, you mean a new Loungefly bag? Is that what you really mean? Yes. So back to Bucky. It's, I think, kind of a good thing for somebody watching this show, especially if somebody's dealing with like PTSD from like the war or any kind of like trauma effect that's happened in their lives, like how to cope with it. But just, obviously doing what he did to his son and then trying to cope with something like that by trying to befriend the father of the son that you killed. Like, I mean, I think that's kind of the wrong way about going about it. But yeah. Yes, I get it. But it's just, you could, obviously this guy has had so much, bad things happen in his life. Maybe he feels that he's doing a positive thing, but in reality, it's not. It's madness.
I absolutely love that scene. Like, love the psychiatric scene when he's with the counselor. I just thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, here goes the notebook.
I love the car scene where he's like, hey, yeah, I'm James Buchanan Barnes, and I'm trying to make amends. Have a good one. See
That
ya.
was pretty good. That was pretty good. But did anybody pick up that she said that Sam has been texting you and you haven't responded?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming like the next episode, because spoiler, there's only 6 episodes according to IMDb. They're not going to keep them apart for more than one episode.
Right.
I guess the next episode he finally responds to the text and they go get coffee or something.
I think the reason he hasn't is exactly what he was saying in the therapy session, is that he's just gone from fight to fight to fight to fight. And he knows the only reason Sam is texting him probably is because he needs him to go to another fight. And he doesn't want to do that. He wants to finally deal with what has been happening to him before he goes. Because now he's lost the only person, because Sam doesn't like him very much. He's lost the only person that was ever on his side about anything, which was, and the only person that could really understand him being 106 years old.
Well, spoiler, there's other people in the MCU that are a little bit older, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think there's always that issue too between the two of them is there. I don't know if it's an issue between the two of them, at least among the fan base, of who Cap should have gave the shield to. Should it have been Sam or should it have been Bucky? Because realistically, Bucky was his best friend. Technically, a lot of people say that the shield should have went to him. But with Bucky having to deal with all the side effects from Hydra, that's why I always felt that Sam was the right choice to get. But Sam technically doesn't have any superpowers. Bucky does. Because Bucky has the super soldier serum and Sam doesn't.
True. I think there's something more to it feel like someone else's. So I wonder if Bucky will be the one to don the suit after what happens with what happens at the end. If he'll be the one to don the red suit and the shield, and Sam stay the way he is and just kind of maybe evolve his suit.
In the comics, they both have donned the role of Captain America. So it could honestly go either way. It could go to Bucky or Sam. Or it could be both of them. Or it could be somebody that we're not even expecting. Please bring Chris Evans back. Please bring Chris Evans back.
Please bring Chris Evans back.
I heard he's renewed. He has a small contract for side things.
But then Kevin Feige releases a statement the other day. That's the producer for all the MCU movies, and says, no, we are done with Chris Evans. He didn't re-sign anything. So then he drops that at us. So you have no idea what's going to happen.
I mean, how many times have they said that Tony Stark is coming back? That Robert Downey Jr. has agreed to one more movie or to make a couple of cameos or something.
But that's the thing with comic books, even the movies. No one is ever officially dead. Somebody's going to come back. You know, I mean, people can always come back.
I mean, if they really, really wanted to, with Iron Man at least, they could have, you know, somebody fly in and they could just not show the face, just have him in the armor the entire time.
Well, in Endgame, they were supposed to, when Tony snapped, they were supposed to go into the soul sequence like Thanos did in Infinity
His
War.
daughter, right?
Aura. Yeah, Tony was supposed to talk to Morgan, but an older version of himself, and kind of like pass on the mantle of Iron Man to her, but they didn't include it in the scene. It was the girl from 13 Reasons Why, played his older daughter.
I've never seen that.
Oh.
I will say
know who you're
this.
talking about.
I'm not afraid to admit it. When Iron Man died in Endgame, I ugly cried.
Theme Park Vet said Mike said he'll be in Doctor Strange 2, but not the normal Cap. And then Mackenzie said Chris said he would never play Captain again. The sci-fi contract is for Lightyear.
Only time will tell, I guess, if the money's right.
Although you know
the money's right and the story's right.
I mean, there's not much else going on right now. I would take what you could get.
You know, Chris Evans was supposed to be in Deadpool 2.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would love to see him in Deadpool.
When they were doing the interviews for X-Force, he was going to walk up. He was going to walk up, and before he even said anything, it's like, oh, we don't need the Human Torch. Get out of here.
Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been great.
But he was all set to do it, from my understanding, but their scheduling was he was shooting something else on that day and couldn't get away for it. That
would have definitely broken a lot of fourth walls on that movie. Brad Pitt was actually the original actor to play Cable, and then he couldn't do it.
Brad Pitt was in it.
No, I know. He was briefly for the invisible guy. I don't know his name, but he was originally supposed to play Cable.
Yeah, like when he grabbed the electric wire, he was in it for like, what, a second or two?
Yeah, a second.
Yeah.
All righty. So the villains of this season, the Flag Smashers is what they're called. They're a terrorist group so far, as far as what we know about them. So Corey, we'll start with you. What's your opinion so far of the Flag Smashers?
I don't want to be negative anymore.
It's kind of a terrible name, but
yeah. Well, first off, I'm pretty sure Flag Smasher was the name of like a B-list villain for a spoof comic book in like the 90s.
Probably.
It was
if you guys know it in the comments, let us know.
Mark Hamill did it. He was the hero. It was like Captain Courage or something like that, and his arch villain was the Flag Smasher.
Speaking of Mark Hamill, Sebastian Stan actually looks a lot like a young Mark Hamill, and people have been saying for years that he should be casted as Luke Skywalker.
No, we're done. No, I just think we should be done with the Skywalkers. Star Wars needs to be all Mandalorian and Baby Yoda.
Grogu.
He's Baby Yoda to me.
Grogu. So, Morgan, what did you think of this Flag Smashers?
I didn't really like that. I was really confused as to what was going on in the I was wondering, are these the same people that kidnapped the other guy? Like what? Like I was so confused. I didn't see the correlation at all. Other than these were clearly the people that whatever that guy's name is. I don't even know. I don't even know if they said his name. But the guy in Tanzania. Clearly infiltrated when he shouldn't have. But yeah, I don't really know. Clearly he it's someone that has a superpower because he's clearly very strong and very quick.
Here's my theory. So I think the leader of this group eventually will be Zemo or Baron Zemo. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because in Civil War, he did break into the Hydra facility. So you don't know if he got any of the super soldier serum, because obviously that guy has it. I don't think he has superpower. I think he has super soldier serum. And I think what he's trying to do is maybe make an army of super soldiers who can obviously do the things that they're doing with this terrorist group. So that's my theory for right now. Now, it may change because in the trailers, it looks like that Zemo and the Flag Smasher group are separate, but I think they're eventually going to try to tie them in together where he's the leader of this organization. I think.
Okay, was Zemo in this episode or did I miss it?
He wasn't even teased.
But they released Legends with Zemo, which that's why I was so confused, because I watched Legends last week and I was like, if these people aren't going to be in at least the first episode,
right?
Why did you release them? Like, you could have released them this week or the week before they come out. Like, that's what and then there was no Agent Carter either. Shannon Carter.
Yeah. I think they did that just to kind of refresh people's minds of who he was, because I mean, obviously, I love Civil War and I know who that actor is. Like, he's a really good actor, but excuse me. I think they're just like, all right, well, we need to throw this out there just so we can kind of refresh. Oh yeah, that's that guy. So if he shows up in the later weeks, they'll be like, oh, I know who that is. You know, because people aren't going to know who Zemo is from. Oh, I mean, unless you're a comic book fan, you'll be like, oh, I know that's Baron Zemo with the mask on. But, you know, people aren't going to really know who that is. Like the non-average comic book person.
Yeah.
You know who Zemo is? Baron Zemo? No? Shame on you.
Yeah, he was the guy that got alone with Bucky and like put him back under Hydra control in Civil War.
In Civil War. He's reading the book to him.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, they own the movies. They're on their own streaming service, so they can make it however long they want. They could easily, whenever Zemo does come back into the show, they could easily do like a 1 to 2 minute clip of the movie, or a highlight reel of showing what he did in the movie and who he is, real quick to prepare you. Previously on the Avengers, and then show what he did in. I mean, you know what I'm saying,
right?
I mean, they didn't have to do the whole separate show, and like I haven't watched it.
Oh, they're only like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's just pretty much a recap of what they did in like phase 3 and phase 2 of the MCU.
Yeah, but I mean, I really have not been paying too much attention to a lot of the stuff on Disney Plus. I know that sounds bad because there's somebody in our house that's just been on a Toy Story kick lately. So I've rewatched the first Toy Story movie, I think 27 times in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Connor's been on a Toy Story 1 kick too for some reason. He was on a Moana kick while we were up at Disney as well. It went from Moana, now Toy Story. He's just like every day he's picking out something new. Yeah.
So I haven't been able to watch a lot of the other stuff because it's been Toy Story all day, every day. But so I didn't know that they even did a Legends about Zemo or anything. Luckily, I know who he is from the comics and the movie. I remember Civil War pretty well. I think that's actually, except for Endgame, that's probably the one I've seen the most.
It's one of my favorites. It's up there. So Winter Soldier is my absolute favorite. What's your favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite.
Seriously? Oh, what was it the other night? Infinity War or Endgame? You kept talking to me about Endgame. I think it was.
Endgame.
How you thought Endgame was amazing. And I'm like, there are some slow points in Endgame though, where it's like, all right, get on.
You can just fast forward to the final battle scene.
Yeah.
And I've actually watched that on an endless loop for about 2 days.
I have the same with you too.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Awesome. I mean, you're talking about geeking
There's
out.
some editing fails in that scene, though.
Yeah, but look at all the CGI and everything that went into that scene.
That's my point.
When Cap picked up that hammer, oh man, I got goosebumps.
I'm just talking about the Ant-Man debacle. Do you know of it?
Which scene where he's punching
The fan theory?
jumping out of the building?
No, when he's if you watch it, when him and Wasp are in the van, in the background is a gigantic Ant-Man walking across the back.
That's not really editing. That's more of a CGI snafu.
We need another character to throw in. Just throw in Ant-Man. Nobody's going to notice.
Oh, people notice.
It's the same thing in Revenge of the Sith with all the Wookiees. So they pretty much took one group of Wookiees and then they just doubled it and swapped out the Wookiees and like replaced them with different. But it's still the same group. That's just they put like 40 of them in there.
True.
I mean, we could go on and on about movies where stuff like that happens.
All right, so we'll get to the end of things. So the end of the episode, Sam is watching the television and his sister comes in and says, Sam, you have to see this. And it's the same, I guess, I don't know, Secretary of State, whoever he is, that Sam gave the shield to. And he's like, we are donning the new Captain America. And out walks this brand new guy in a new Captain America suit that doesn't look very good. That's probably the only thing I didn't like about the episode. That suit looks terrible. It looks worse than the first.
His face looks terrible.
Well, that's because it's government
That
made.
weight was terrible.
You know he's a villain.
The shape of the guy's head is
Doesn't Homelander like to wing too?
Yes, Homelander does like to wing.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody watches The Boys on Amazon, but that show is amazing. But I think this is, well, that's your opinion. But I think this is Captain America and this show is going to be like Homelander, just not as bad. Because Amazon
I haven't seen that.
Or a
I've
little more
heard good things about The Boys. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it.
It's awesome. I highly recommend it. You'll probably enjoy it.
I'll be honest, Amazon's got some good stuff. I actually enjoyed the reboot of The Tick they did.
Do you know The Tick? I know of the character, but I've never watched the show or anything.
Well, it's on Amazon Prime. It's I think it's got 2 or 3 seasons. It's pretty good. And then the Jack Ryan series is amazing.
I'm watching Jack Reacher.
Jack Ryan.
So, I have a question, bringing it back to whatever the show's called. I forgot. But
See, it's not forgettable.
no, I keep wanting to say Captain America, but it's not about Captain America.
The title is very long. It's not as catchy as WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, how do we name this thing? They're like, just give it a long title. Put both their names in it.
But did anyone pick up on how he said, ow, that really hurt when his sister like punched him?
Yeah.
So like, I wonder if his sister secretly is going to become something later on. Like
it's just a playful.
I think that was
like
just
me and
brother sister interact.
my family. You know, you punch each other in the arm, like you know, you play it up how it hurts and everything.
But he said, "Don't
They
punch
barely
me
touch
again."
you.
Like he was serious. Like that. I think that really hurt him.
Do you think that was?
I think that was just
sister
playful
interaction, or
between
you think
siblings.
that meant something?
Well, why does she want to sell the boat so bad?
The
Because she's
money.
broke.
Because the
If,
money.
if the boat doesn't run, what are you going to get?
But you're still gonna.
You'd be surprised.
Well, she has 2 boats. I think she has 2 boats because there was a nicer boat and there was the bad boat. And I think she just wants to sell the bad boat so she can get some money to like do some things for the business and pay off the loan that's on her house.
But like she was saying, she was what, earning 5 and spending 10.
10, right.
So she wasn't earning enough money to keep the boat afloat or fix it or whatever.
Yeah. Although to me, I think that part. All right, to go back a little bit, I think they put too much of that in this episode.
I
They could have introduced him and the sister, and even mentioned the financial trouble, and then got back to like the loan scene in like maybe the next episode or something, and then use that time to maybe have Carter or Zemo or another fight scene or something, you know, to make it more entertaining, really.
I mean, clearly she's going to be a main character now,
Yes.
which that's why I'm wondering, is she like, what does she have to give to the MCU other than I'm just a sister? But I also noticed that Bucky mentioned he had a sister.
Yes.
4 sisters, I think.
No, he said a sister and then he said F4.
Oh.
As in like the board. I thought it was 4 sisters the first time too. But then her response is drink. because it was a miss.
But
So
they are like 100 years old, so I doubt they're still around.
exactly. So I wonder if that's going to come into play later on, that's going to be something they bond over, having a sister.
I do agree with you, Corey, on that. So like it's like they throw this giant action scene at you, and then it gets really like filler until the end, or
Slow. Let's just say slow.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to that action scene. That truly was the what was it, 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something?
Yeah.
You can watch that and then wait until next week when the next episode.
I also thought it was going to that loan scene when they're in the bank and Falcon thinking it's just, oh, I'm a superhero, so I can get what I want.
I'm going to get the superhero
I'm going to get
deal.
it because I'm a superhero.
I'm an Avenger.
Oh, take your picture. Yeah, that's great. So you're going to give me that loan? Like, you can't just throw money at it. Obviously, I mean, they're wanting the loan, but you can't throw your superhero status at it either.
Oh, you know, if it was Tony Stark asking for a loan, he would have got it like that. He
But
should have had that
doesn't have to ask for a loan because
charismatic smile. He'd be like, hey.
Yeah, and I found it funny that they were saying like, oh, you haven't had income for 5 years. And I was like, well, he wasn't around for 5 years. Like I was totally on their side. I was like, that's ridiculous. But it's probably because all these people are coming back. Their houses are gone now because no one's been paying it.
Right.
And everyone's probably trying to get those loans.
I will say this. I am really, really looking forward to it. I hope they dive a little bit more into that. What was it, like 3 billion people disappeared for 5 years and then come back all of a sudden? You left and your kid is 10. You come back, he's 15 and doesn't need you as much anymore. You leave and you come back, your parents are gone. You know,
they briefly touched on that in Far From Home a little bit with the school scene where all the kids are starting to pop back up, and they also touch on that a little.
I guess somebody hasn't seen Far From Home.
Oh,
it's not on anything.
Sorry. Well, I didn't spoil.
I believe it's on.
It's not a huge spoiler. It's really not.
Or something.
I don't pay for that.
But they did touch on that as well in Wanda Vision, and I thought that was one of the best, well done scenes in the hospital. I don't want to spoil it for you, Corey, but it's awesome. I love that scene. I was very confused at first. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go into it. But yeah, that scene was awesome. It was perfect.
Oh, have you not seen Wanda Vision?
He hasn't. He's seen episode 3.
The third, 4th episode. I just couldn't take it anymore. But
it gets better.
Okay, but there's 8 episodes of it, and the first like 3 or 4 are like horrible. So why would I keep watching it?
It makes more really sense in the end, though, why they did it.
I told him that they go into why it's like
earlier.
that, but
I mean, you can understand my point. You watch half the show. Name another TV show, you will give it half a series, and it's horrible, and you keep watching, and it gets good.
Well, I didn't think 3 and 4 were. 1 and 2 were bad, but I didn't think 3 and 4 were as bad.
I thought 4 was great because 4 is a recap of 1 through 3, and I think 4 is the episode I showed her because I'm like, oh, you got to watch this now. They kind of go into why the sitcom stuff. Like I couldn't get past 1 and 2. I'm like, seriously, this is what the show is going to be about. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, I get that some people are really into old sitcoms. That's not for me. Like, it's just not.
I love old sitcoms.
Fast forward.
I love old sitcoms, but I just thought they did I thought they did it poorly. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm just spoiled because The Mandalorian was so good and I had such high expectations.
I don't know. My mom watched the Dick Van Dyke Show, or used to watch. I don't know. But she said it was like exactly like one of the episodes. Like the first one was exactly like to the T of exactly what it was like. So I was like, all right, okay.
It was to the T, somebody pretending to do it. It would be like
I wouldn't know.
It would be like if you had a bunch of high school kids doing a play of a Dick Van Dyke TV show.
Oh.
All right, so back to the ending of this episode. So
I'm sorry, I keep getting y'all.
Do you do you guys care for spoilers about what his name is or anything, or do you want to wait for that?
Go ahead.
All right.
I'm good.
So his name in the comics is U.S. Agent. That's all it is. He does have a real name. I believe it's like John Miller or something like that. But his like hero name is U.S. Agent. So do you guys? We'll start.
Sorry.
Seriously? So Morgan, we'll go with you first. Do you have any expectations for U.S. Agent?
I have expectations that he's going to be horrible. Just like based on how he looks, he's going to be, I think he's going to be like, I don't know how he is. He's either going to go one of two ways for me. He's going to be a villain and just cause a bunch of problems for Bucky and Falcon. And I think that's going to what's going to bring them together is if he causes problems and starts bringing bad stuff to the name of Captain America, they're going to come together to like destroy him and basically get him away. Or he's just going to like be lazy and do nothing and be like a big jerk. And
then I feel like it's going to bring Sam and Bucky together again because he's not living in Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it won't be as if it goes that way, it won't be as big of a thing because it'll just be like kind of a side story. Because if he doesn't really do anything, if he's just basically what Cap was when he first became Captain America, where he's just like a little dancing sideshow kind of thing, then I feel like they'll just deal with it on the side of whatever bigger is going on.
So what is? I was going to say, so what is the bigger picture? Is it the flag stompers or whatever they're called?
Flag smashers.
Sorry. Is it that the bigger picture? Is that the bigger picture or is it something else? Like where is it going? There's a lot of directions that it can go. So
I don't know. I think it's going to end up being something with the Flag Smashers and Zemo because those seem to be bigger villains and be doing worse things at this point, even though Zemo is not around. I really don't know. I'm at a loss for where this is going, but I hope that at the end, because I said this on Kaylee, who's actually just popped on her Wanda Vision live reaction for the finale. I said, I think it will end. And you can quote me on this. I think it will end with them being in Sokovia for whatever reason and running into Wanda. I think that's how it will end to start Doctor Strange because I think he's going to be the next one to come out because I think the Loki series is going to be more of a flashback because Loki's supposed to be dead.
Well, technically, Loki generated or created a new timeline with him when he takes the Tesseract and disappears. So at the end of Endgame, they technically, yes, they put all the stones back, but there were so many things that were fractured by when obviously Cap goes back in time. They fracture the timeline. When Loki disappears, they fracture the timeline. When Thor has to respirate Tony, there's all these little things that they did now that have splintered these timelines. So I think hopefully they'll eventually tie into, okay, there's now multiple different dimensions or parallels or everything because they've technically, they put the stones back, but there's so many different moving parts now that are going on.
Oh, okay. Well, my point is I don't think Loki lines up with what's going on currently right now in the MCU. And I don't think I don't know. It could end up, but I think it's going to leave off with an intro into Doctor Strange 2 because it's just too much time between WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2 actually coming out. So I think they need another little taste of, hey, this is going to be Doctor Strange 2.
So this story is more of like an avenging story, like this core group of Avengers. The Wanda Vision was more of like the spiritual stuff of like the other side and very Doctor Strange-esque. Loki is going to be on a story. It's going to be a cosmic, cosmic level, dealing with like space realm and everything like that. I think they're kind of going with all these different kind of areas or realms of where these characters like pretty much come from. Like it'd be weird sticking Sam Wilson in like a space odyssey kind of story. But then we'll have to see what Black Widow is going to be about too, because that's coming out in May.
That's going to be a prequel.
Wait.
They said that's a prequel.
Is it?
But it's supposed to dawn the new Black Widow though. You would think.
I cannot wait for the Black Widow movie.
But here's the thing with that one as well. So there's a character in Black Widow, Red Guardian, and he's a super soldier like Cap. So how did they get the super soldier serum as well? So you don't know how many countries or how many places have this serum.
True.
Well, as far as MCU goes, I cannot wait for Black Widow. I watched Wonder Woman 84 not that long ago, and the whole time I'm like, I would rather be watching Black Widow. This movie's horrible.
But Mando's in it. It's supposed to be a great movie. It's about magic.
It was not as good as the first Wonder Woman movie.
No. It's very hard for the second movies to live up to the first ones. The only one that ever did that was Empire.
Pitch Perfect 2.
There you go.
Out of here. Go away. Go away. Get out of this discussion.
But
so
I think
we'll play some cups or something a little bit later.
Corey, do you have any? Oh, go ahead, Morgan. Sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna say, I think because Zemo is also in it, and he's like Sokovia, like bleeding Sokovia and everything like that. That's why I think even if it's just, hey, did you hear about that red thing that flew overhead last night? What the heck was that? Mm-hmm. Even if it's like something little like that, I think it would be a nice touch to end on.
Before we get to Corey, I will tell you. So you said A and B. I will tell you it's more towards A, but again, I don't want to get too much from the comics. But yeah, it's going to be more of an A thing with him. Most likely, if they do the comic book route of being a villain. Okay. Like I said, he's very pro-government, and if you're not for his like government views, then stay out of his way. Ugh. Yeah. Homelander. He's that. Well, Homelander is a crazy.
Because we need more of that kind of stuff in life right now.
Exactly. But that's where like Sam and Steve, like they are obviously pro-government, but they also like have more moral values and a heart and everything. So they don't obviously agree with everything that the government does. Yeah. So Corey, what are your expectations, or do you have any for U.S. Agent?
Okay. I'll be honest. I had like 5 people talking to me during the last like 2 minutes of the show, so I didn't pick up that was U.S. Agent. I am aware of U.S. Agent. I've got several comic books with him in it, so I kind of get the gist of who he is if they're true to the comic books, which probably going to be close anyway. I think it's going to be kind of I think it's going to be a 3-way battle. I think it's going to be Bucky and Falcon versus U.S. Agent and probably some nameless U.S. special force soldiers or something that he's leading versus the Flag Smashers. I'm sorry, that name cracks me up. Somebody should have took another 5 minutes to come up with a better name. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. We're throwing darts on the board here. Oh, it landed on Flag Smashers. All right, we're going with that.
No, I'm pretty sure that was like a 2-year-old suggestion. Like, little Johnny, what should the name of this bad guy be who's anti-government? Flag Smasher. Just saying. But yeah. So I think it's going to be kind of a battle all the way around, them all fighting each other. And of course, I predict that the end of the show will be Falcon finally picking up the shield and taking on the mantle of. And in the comics, he got a really cool Captain America themed suit with the wings. You know what I'm talking about.
It's
I'm
awesome.
hoping I want the
Very
end
cool.
of this series to. I am wanting the end of this series to be just a slow-mo of him like standing up in that outfit with like the American flag waving in the background and the wings spread and him holding the shield. I will geek out. And yeah, I know I've been a little negative about this episode, but it just frustrated me because you're Disney, you own the streaming service, you own all the rights for the comics and the TV shows and the movies. They could have just done so much more in the first episode.
I'm wondering when it was filmed, if they couldn't actually like shoot a lot, because it's a lot of the same characters and there's not a lot of extras like there normally is. So I'm wondering like if COVID played a role in that.
They started filming this before COVID.
Oh, okay.
I thought a lot of these shows were pre-COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From my understanding, this was actually filmed. A good chunk of this was actually filmed before Disney Plus ever even launched.
Oh.
So, I'm just saying. I had such high expectations. I expected 49, 50 minutes, an hour of fight scene, story set up, fight, story set up. Next time we're gonna have, I expected more than like a little 10-minute fight scene that wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't great. These guys have been doing these movies for over a decade now. So I expected better action than we got in the first 10 minutes. I expected more. Like, they spent too much time telling us about the characters. What's the storyline? Is it just Flag Smashers are bad and we got to stop where they won't? What's going to be the arc of the series? We got 6 episodes here, and the next one is going to be actually setting up the story of the show.
Who's also the friend person?
Yeah.
Like, who is he? Why is he important? Like,
what friend?
The guy that Sam,
the old guy
that kind of told him about the Flag Smashers.
Yeah. The U.S. agent guy. Well,
yeah. See, I don't even think they gave him a name.
Not U.S. agent.
The espionage guy, I guess. I couldn't tell if he was a soldier at first, and then he's like espionage, and he's kind of a tech guy too, I guess. I don't know.
And was it just me, or did Sam say he was working with the SEALs, Navy SEALs?
I don't remember that one.
No, they were clearly on land.
No, he said the Air Force for 6 months, I believe.
Oh, Air Force. Okay, yeah. Air Force.
Air Force for 6 months.
Yeah. I got hope that the show's going to be really, really good because I've seen all the trailers. I've actually seen some sneak peeks that I found online from later episodes. There's going to be some really good action scenes later. I guess we're just going to have to wait a couple episodes.
I think it's tough too also because the Russo brothers did such a great job with obviously Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, and Infinity War. So now they're really reaching out to different directors with different visions of this. And I still honestly, I think they have an idea of so the end game, no pun intended, was to get to Thanos. That was the end game of the original phase. In this phase, now that they have Fox and they have Fantastic Four, I guess, coming, and they got to introduce mutants, what's the end game of this phase now? Who's that big?
I don't think there is one.
Is it going to be Galactus? Are they going to bring in Doctor Doom? What's it going to lead to?
From things I've read from people in charge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's not going to be another Endgame. There's going to be storylines that goes from movie to movie, but it's not going to be a decade long build again. They did that. They're not going to commit themselves to that again. So you're going to see like this group, these group of movies are together and they're fighting this bad guy, and then you're going to see maybe this superhero cameo in this guy's movie 1 or 2 times, and it's all going to be loosely tied together, but it's not going to be building on top of each other movie after movie. From my understanding, from stuff I've read, that the high up in people in Marvel and Disney have said, that's over with.
So you don't think that they're going to do the Young Avengers then with the kids from Wanda Vision?
Not on a major scale. I could see a TV show.
Okay.
But I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see another decade-long storyline that encompasses 20-something movies. We're not going to see that again. Yeah, 22 movies.
Yeah,
we're not going to see that again. We're going to see something that, we're going to see another Avengers movie eventually. It's probably going to be 5 to 7 years down the road, and it'll be like Age of Ultron. You set up a villain maybe in the movie before it, you fight him in the Avenger movie, and you vanquish him, and then you move on to the next set of movies.
I mean, Marvel does have some pretty big villains that they could do. I don't know if they're going to be household. Well, I mean, even Thanos. I mean, people knew who Thanos was, but I mean, Thanos really became like a household name. You can't go anywhere like without Thanos. Like everyone knows who he is now. Like, are people going to get the same reaction from Kang the Conqueror or Galactus or
Galactus? Maybe.
I've heard the rumor.
Galactus has been in so many video games and comic books, and has been in another movie before and talked about so much. Him and Dr. Doom are the only two that have name value that I can think of off the top of my head. That could in theory be a Avengers bad guy for a long story arc.
So you don't think like Mephisto, aka the devil?
No. I think enough people know who he is.
He's a good Doctor Strange villain, but he's not a good Avengers villain. The Avengers need a galactic scale really villain that would threaten like the universe or the Earth. So like a Galactus or a Doctor Doom or anything like that, or somebody like that. But I think Mephisto's like he's a good like I don't know Red Skull villain, but he's not like an Avengers level threat villain. Yeah.
I mean, they got a catalog of 70, 80 years that they can pull from. When was Avengers created? Like the 60s?
Probably.
Somewhere around there. So they got, a long time of comics that they can pull characters, and there's been so many versions and so many bad guys. They can do a lot with it. It's what will look good on a movie screen that the general average person who just wants to go see a comic book movie every now and then will go and see because they vaguely know who the characters are.
I really want them to bring in a villain like Tony, but obviously evil. So I'm hoping, and I've heard rumors that they bring in Norman Osborn and he becomes pretty much the anti-Iron Man. Like kind of mentor to Peter, but yet his intentions are evil and they're not good. Because I mean,
I've heard. We all hear stuff. We read stuff. 90% of it's probably not true. I've heard that COVID had slowed them down a lot, but before COVID, they were looking at like a 2023 Fantastic Four reboot.
I've heard that's in the works.
It's in the works, but I think it might have got pushed back a couple of years because of COVID.
Who's the actor that plays Jack Ryan? John Cranston.
Nowinski.
Yeah.
Nowinski.
They have been
teasing the Office.
They have been teasing him to play Mr. Fantastic for years. I mean, he was the one of the original actors to audition for Cap. but he didn't. They gave it to Chris Evans. But yeah, they've been
Chris Evans played a good Cap.
Oh yeah, they've been casting him as Mr. Fantastic for years now.
I would like to see that. He's a good actor. I love Jack Ryan on Netflix. I cannot talk highly enough about that show. I will take off work and binge watch the next season as soon as they release it. It is that good. And I love The Office too. Completely different characters though. Although part of me likes to think that Jim was just undercover in The Office as Jack Ryan. Just some fan theory right there.
Right. We never got into it. We've been told many times to watch The Office and we've never seen one episode.
I'm not going to tell you to watch it. My wife hates it. I love it. It's just, if that's your sense of humor, you're going to love it.
Like that drive.
If it's not. But he's a good actor. I'd like to see him as Mr. Fantastic. Maybe they'll bring back Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch.
See, he's supposed to come back for Black Panther too.
Well, because of Chadwick Boseman dying, I've heard he's going to take up the mantle as the Black Panther in the movie.
But they killed him in Black Panther 1. So again, now with hopefully them introducing alternate realities or different realms or the Nexus, that's what that whole teaser in Wanda Vision was. The Nexus, that's what their kind of different parallel universes like DC's version is and Marvel's the Nexus. So hopefully, because how do you bring in a character that's dead back?
I thought they said that they were going to give Shuri the title.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It would be cool.
Which I loved her as a character.
I thought I read that because that was like a big debate, and they said no, we will give like Shuri the title.
But she's more of like a tech person. She's not really a fighter. She doesn't have any like combat skills or anything. I at least I don't think. Maybe in the comics she did, but she was pretty much the Tony Stark of Wakanda.
Yeah, true.
And let's be honest. People aren't going to go to the movies and see her. Nobody knows who. I can't even tell you the actress's name. People will go and watch a Michael B. Jordan movie.
I would. He's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Michael B. Jordan. He's a great actor. But he's got name value and box office appeal. So if they can get him in there in the Black Panther suit, so ticket sales will stay up, they're going to do it in a heartbeat, no matter what.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't know who he was before Black Panther.
You never saw Chronicle?
No.
Go watch Chronicle after we're done.
You never watch Creed?
Awesome.
No.
Creed.
No.
It's all. Watch Creed. It's awesome.
And Chronicle.
And about a dozen other movies. What? He's a great actor.
All right, guys. So I think that's going to wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed this first episode review of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Obviously, we are going to leave Teaching Disney's and Mainstreet Explorers links in the description below. Please go check out their channels and subscribe if you haven't already. We probably will be back, I would think, next week, either Friday or Saturday, to review episode 2. So we will see all of you guys then. So good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.